What amazing things have you done for your health, like because of this approach to your life and lifestyle?
I think one of the things like I've done, well, I've done something bad and good. The biggest thing I've done for my health is diagnostics, right?
Mm-hmm.
Somebody gave me a quote saying that somebody wrote a book or has a philosophy, you should be spending 10% of your income on health,
Mm-hmm.
right? Just keep maintaining, that's maintenance in the gym and also diagnostics. And so the biggest thing you can do to stay healthy is to know, to be aware.
Mm.
Am I healthy? Am I fit? Do I have any diseases? Do I have any propensity to diseases? Just, scans, whatever. And the diagnostic technology is out there. It's not covered. Some of it's not covered under insurance or et cetera. But if you can get the diagnostics, you do don't miss your annual checkups, do XYZ. And if you can afford to do
Mm.
extra diagnostics and full workups and executive health, do them, right? Because that gives you a proactive approach to saying, hey, dude, you're the type of guy that needs to do X or Y to maintain your health. Or you have this degenerative cartilage and you need to stop doing any kind of impact exercises and do these type of exercises instead of these exercises, right? And that's going to drastically change the quality of my life, that I'm aware of certain things on the specific ways my body is going to deteriorate, right? On top of that, the probably equally as important or even more important is getting the information that, like, hey, here are the things on longevity and quality of life, right? It's make sure you do exercises that make you sweat, right? Not a steam or sauna, but sweat 4 hours a week, right? You
Mm-hmm.
get enough sleep, right? You must get at least, from my body, my stage, 7 hours and 20 minutes is the goal every
Mm.
night, right? These supplements and et cetera, and the balance in my diet. This is the way your gut absorbs these nutrients, right? So they do a whole gut test, whatever, and blah, blah, blah,
Mm.
blah, blah. Here are even bigger, and a doctor should probably tell me which one is bigger or not, but is what foods are inflammatory to you and what foods are not.
Mm-hmm.
Because inflammation is death, right? So
That's
you
so
don't want,
interesting because what you're saying, that's like Ayurveda. I don't know how much, you're probably a lot in holistic doctors as well and medicine, no?
I mean, my doctor, I don't want to call them holistic. They look at the whole picture, I guess. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
they're like, look, they're one of their big things is, besides, diagnostics and
Mm-hmm.
various supplements to keep you balanced is that they measure what foods that are inflammatory to me,
Yeah.
specifically to me, right?
Mm-hmm.
My genes, and which are in the like kind of yellowish, and which are the green. And
Mm-hmm.
so, recently we've just gone through that whole, we had it actually on this, I'm in my kitchen facing my living room, you're facing my living room, but we had the papers out and like, these foods, no, these foods, whatever, not have
Mm-hmm.
these, do you like this? It sucks when a lot of the things that are on your green list you don't like. And then when something you love is on your red list, you're like, ah, shit, what am I gonna
Yeah.
but that, taking those steps, every day you put things into your body that are bringing you closer to
Mm.
the grave or further away,
Mm. That's
right? And
super important.
that cumulative impact, you can't fade that, right? You can't fade, that negative impact if you're constantly eating foods that inflame you, increase your risk of cancer, increase your risk of heart disease,
Mm.
increase your risk of stroke, dementia, etc. And so I think it's not this big dramatic step. Like, I went to the mountain and it rained on me and I did this thing and it fixed everything. It's these deliberate, consistent steps and small changes that I'm making in my diet and exercise that will drastically change my value of future experiences, because I will be
Exactly.
healthier, I will be more cognitive, I will be able to do them, and even and I will have more experiences that I will be able to enjoy, as opposed to,
Mm.
yeah, I could do them, but it sucks. You know what I mean?
Yeah, everything hurts.
Yeah, everything hurts or it sucks, and you don't know, but
Yeah.
people don't want that, right? Like
Yeah.
it changes the value proposition of travel. Like if you're a traveler, right? Like I've said this before. I went to St. Petersburg in Russia, and it's great because they let you walk up these churches, these old churches, up the
Mm-hmm.
stairs and walk around the balcony. You see Petersburg, and you're really able to explore and see interesting places from different vantage points. But there were like 6 buses lined up, a lot of Chinese tourists, a lot of European tourists, whatever, of, older people generally go on these buses for social reasons, whatever. Not one of them climbed those 210 steps.
Wow.
They were walking around. They were able. I bet I bet a lot could not. But there were also a significant amount that could, but they're not going to do it because it hurts. It's a pain in the ass. It's not enjoyable. So St. Petersburg, the value proposition of St. Petersburg for them was different.
Yeah.
For me, it was a 10.
Yeah.
And for them, it was a 7. They get 7 experience points and I get 10, or they probably got 3 experience points and I get 10. I mean, and I'm not saying it like me versus them. Think about it as you in your best, healthiest self versus you and your least or moderate healthy self. You get 10 experience points or you get 7 experience points. You choose.
Yeah. It's simple, but it's actually really, really deep, because I'm always like about the experiences, like, oh my gosh, I went there and I met this person and then we went to this coffee shop and then I found that book and right. Everything flows, and then someone else goes to the place and they're like, it's not as awesome as you told, but because I feel great in my body, I have good energy and things always flow for me. Right. But that's my approach. It's like what you're saying, that's my 10, that's my 10, because I set my experience and my intention for the experience.
And also like your construct, like your mental construct of who you are and your energy, like you're going to be open to things that other people wouldn't. So like you have to always solve for each individual, right? Like you can't transfer my experience of like watching the sunrise in Capri versus somebody else. Like, I don't care. Me, I'm just like, this is an amazing experience. I'm connecting with ancient Romans. Imagine the people thinking about things, like it's a different experience. But for a given person, keeping that variable the same, then we can start solving for your health, et cetera. Like if you have a crabby attitude, okay, you're gonna have a crabby attitude everywhere you go, but let's solve for, your health and all these other variables to make sure that you have the best experience given your disposition in life,
Well, it's a lot of work to get to know yourself, like who you really are and then what you're going to enjoy and like what is the best experience for you. That's a lifelong journey.
It is. I mean, a lot of the book is like, it's really like get the fuck off autopilot type of book. It's and it's hard. It's difficult because autopilot gets us into places and allows us to be experts in what we do, right? We go into work and I've been doing this for 10 years. I do this, I do that. You're a freaking expert, right? And I go home and I cook the dinner and I raise the kids and I whatever, and I make the money and I got the bonus and, and you get into these routines and then, the years go by and you're like, what was I doing? What was it for?
Yeah.
Why did I do that? And we know the original reason you did it. You created habits to make yourself successful in whatever you were doing. But those habits were not the goal. The goal was life. The goal was living life and experience. And so you get disconnected from that and you forget like, hey, I need to get everybody else's wishes and dreams out, get mine in and think about what experiences do I want to have and when.
A real reset.
Yeah, a real reset, because like the ultimate reset, like you like I say, you have you don't die just once. This is going to sound morbid. You have many deaths, right? The teenager in you dies and becomes an adult. The college student dies and becomes a working. The first job person, newbie in the job dies, whatever. The single you, if you get married or have a significant other, that dies. And now you're paired up and partnered, right? And so on, right? And within those periods, okay, there are experiences meant for those periods and those periods alone. Some can transfer out to others, right, with some difficulty or not. But some of them are just for those periods. And if you're not aware of yourself and the things you want when, then you go through life not getting all you can because you have all these little deaths until you hit the ultimate death when you cannot do anything. It is over. Oh, we lost lights. It is over. Your ride is over and it's done, right? The ride of me having toddlers, my kids being toddlers, that's over.
Yeah.
They're going to the park and holding their hand and poo rides and Disney and all the things you could think of with little kids. It's done. If I didn't do it, it's a regret now, And so, and so on. Right. And I'm just using that period because it's familiar to me, but other people have different time buckets in their life where those experiences are meant for. And so if you're on autopilot, you're just like driving home and you just make all the right turns, but you don't even know how you got home, right? Like, because you've done it so many times, but you missed all the views along the way and everything that was happening, right? And then you're dead and you don't get to drive anymore.
Exactly.
So it's a wake up,
Yeah. You mentioned Burning Man before. Was that on your list? Is it in the done list or is it?
It wasn't. I actually went there for like 3 days. So I'll tell you a story. My friends have been begging me to go to Burning Man, begging me. And my friends are like experimental, let's say mind-altering people, right? They like to try stuff. And I have never, ever, ever in my life done that. I didn't drink until I was 21. I was very much like, I don't want to do that until I'm much older, because I was concerned about the impact it might have on my other things, right? I bought the Kool-Aid on how bad it is for you.
Yeah.
Right? And so I went and I was like, I was going to go with my girlfriend at the time. And I was like, okay, we're going to try it together. I want to be with you. I don't want to be out of integrity. I don't want to be on some drugs and then have some wild orgy affair and be like, oh shit, I was out of integrity, but I couldn't help myself. I was on whatever, because I didn't know. And so anyway, she winds up not being able to go. She booked a job. She had to film this TV show or whatever. And then I went alone and I was got in. It was desert. I was all into the costume. I came as Xerxes. I got in shape. I wore the Xerxes costume and in the desert. I liked the art and the community, but there was so much peer pressure to try drugs. I just got out of there like within 2 days. I just left. I just flew. I was like, you know what? I'm not going to be able to escape these guys. They're like seriously pressuring me to join the so I left, but I do want to go back now that I've crossed that threshold and experience it again. But unfortunately, during this time, we don't know when.
I know. So I had it on my list, and then I had a chance to go last year. And like you said, I hardly ever drink, and like drugs is like drugs like this. And I go in, I made some friends and they're like, you can see like, it's all just like full with drugs. And it's like, here are 3 lines of Coke. I'm like, I'm not doing Coke. I'm like, bye. Yeah. But we didn't have peer pressure, because that was my fear. I was like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do here for a week? I'm like, I can say no, like today, but if someone like pushes every day, it's like, whoa, but no.
I get their point of view. It's like, this is a wonderful experience. We want you to join us in this wonderful experience. And I'm just like, I'm in fear mode and like not fully researched, not with my significant other at the time. And I'm thinking like worst case scenario and being out of integrity. And I was just like, okay, I got to get out of here.
Yeah, well, it's a beautiful setting, and I love the arts, and it's just an incredible place. So I was really taken away.
I love it. I love that aspect of it, and I'm looking forward to going back. But it's more the socialized. I did a summit in LA, which is kind of like Burning Man meets TED, and I really enjoyed that. Those type of things. Like, discovered a lot of interesting people doing great and wonderful things. Got my brain neurons firing, and I really love it.